guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Garage Review. Today we're going to be reviewing the garage of a pretty well-known member in the Top Drives community. You might know this person as Bunny. Yes, it's been forever I've wanted to review Bunny's garage. Bunny's been a patron of mine for almost a year now, so shout out Bunny. And finally we have the garage in here to review. So, let me give you the rundown. Bunny's Top Drives garage, favorite brand obviously is Mitsubishi, and favorite country is Japan. So let's get into it, starting off as you can see with a beautiful screen of nothing. So right now that's a garage review score of 0, but I'm just joking. We're going to move on to the comments now. Obviously we're going to scroll, and as you can see we're greeted by the Peugeot de the Maserati A6G, and you know, some other really cool comments. But one interesting thing to see here is that we don't have a Type 2. There's no Type 2 collection, so the garage isn't as old. It doesn't date back to the Type 2 era, but it does date back to the Alfa Romeo Spider era. So we're just gonna look at the comments real quick, looking at my notes that I've already written down. Now I just want to say that this garage was sent to me about 2.5 weeks ago. I've already written the notes, so these notes are about 2.5 weeks ago. There are a bunch of new cars in this garage that you might not be seeing in today's review. I think Bunny has already won the KTM Expo and has gotten a couple new epics along the way, and a Porsche 962C. So although you won't see it in today's review, I just want to mention it real quick, just because in case Bunny wants me to do that. Anyway, starting off with the comments here, as you can see, it's a really big collection, and in terms of what I have in my notes is that, you know, it's the garage is old enough to collect the Alphas, but not old enough for the Type 2s. I've already said that. Obviously, we saw a couple of Frank Sinatra edition comments in here as well. We don't need those anymore with the new key and token system in Top Drive, so we don't need to collect a bunch of crappy little commons for us to enter events anymore, so that's really nice. And all I have to say is the common collection is very strong. Most of the cars are maxed or nothing, and you know, if they're duplicates and they're not Blossom Choice, feel free to fuse them. But yeah, that's all I have to say. The commons are very strong. Now, greeted right away is the Mitsubishi army, because obviously Mitsubishi is Bunny's favorite manufacturer. We have 3 Mitsubishi IMI EVs, or I-Me EVs. I don't even know what they're called, Mievs, and Mitsubishi Colts. Now, the Colts, I feel like a lot of people will have them maxed, not only because it's a Year of the Ox car, but it was also Call of the Wild. That was why I have one max. It's because of Call of the Wild, and now it's bleeding into Year of the Ox, which is another reason why I'm an advocate for, if you've maxed out a car, you might as well keep it in your garage. Never sell a maxed car. You never know when you'll need to use it again. You know, I could have sold my Colt after Call of the Wild was over, but luckily I didn't, because now I can use it again for Year of the Ox. You know what I mean? Reuse, recycle, all that kind of stuff. Mitsubishi Miev. I've never seen that thing before, or Mi EV. I've never seen it maxed. 11.1, 77 handling, standard tires. I think the only reason why it has slightly bled into uncommon instead of being uncommon, because let's be honest, the top speed and the 0 to 60 is garbage, is because not only that it's standard tires and rear-wheel drive, it's probably, well, it looks incredibly light. I mean, it looks like a, what is it, a toy car, Timmy Tykes, whatever it's called, you know, the red and yellow one, literally. But yeah, moving on, I have a couple of things to say for uncommons. I would say fuse the Alfa Romeo S4, there's no need for that. Peugeot 504, the Escort in Mexico, and the RQ22 Aston Martin Lagonda. I love the Lagonda. That's just because I love Aston Martin. To be completely honest, the Lagonda is a pretty crappy uncommon. I'd never use it. Once again, as you can see, we see the Colt 3 again. It looks like Bunny is trying to collect 3 of each Mitsubishi in the lower end. Let me know if I'm right with that. But the Mitsubishi Colt CZC. God damn. Peter Piper picked a bunch of pickled peppers. A bunch of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. But anyway, tongue twister aside, maxed out 8085 standard tires, front wheel drive. That doesn't look like a bad car at all, but I'm actually interested, why isn't the Colt, or why wasn't the Colt Call of the Wild? Because it has CZZ and that isn't an animal. Maybe because there's no animal called the Colt CZZ, but it's still, you know, it's the Colt. I don't know. But yeah, that's actually a pretty decent looking car. In terms of stats, I don't like how it looks. but in terms of stats, it looks pretty alright, so I might max that out. Once again, 3 of the Lancer Sportback 8084 to add to the Mitsubishi collection. Now, there are a couple of uncommons here that you don't have, which I'm pretty surprised that you don't have in your collection, considering the vast size of this uncommon collection. So some cards for you to look out for, and I think since I sent this notes to you like 2 weeks ago, you probably have gotten them already, Bunny. But Mercedes V250 996, Dodge Daytona 969, especially since the Fulvia is now a common, the Dodge D100 at 996, and the Chevrolet Volt at 969. It's a great car, that Volt. 86 handling, standard tires, medium ground clearance as well. Not sure how much longer it will be medium for, but for now at least it is indeed medium. There are a lot of questionable stock uncommons in your garage as well, which would be cars that you can look into fusing. But anyway, let's move on to the rares now. And as you can see, it's once again a very big collection. Most of it is maxed or nothing. Mazda MX-5 max, Lotus Elan stock, A-Barb 695 max, Acura Integra GSR stock. Here's another thing about this garage. We know Bunny for the Mitsubishi collector that Bunny is, but also Bunny does collect Fiats. So I think you would see almost every single Fiat in the game in this garage, besides maybe the Prize. I might be wrong with that. Bunny might have every single Fiat already. But yeah. Moving on here, as you can see, max or nothing, very, very nice. Cars that you have that I would recommend you to max Bunny would be the Lil Red Express, the BMW i3S, and the Chevrolet Malibu. One really interesting thing is now with the hill climb boost that the Dodge Laramie has received, I actually need to compare the Laramie and the Lil Red Express together and see which is actually better on the hill climb. Because the Laramie has a very impressive hill climb time of I think 31, something like that. So I'll have to check the Lil Red Express time. If anybody knows what it is, comment down below. You'll be a great help. I'll pin your comment, but I mean, if more than one person does it, I can only pin one comment, so I'll heart your comment. I'll say that I'll heart your comment. But yeah, it's a very nice rare collection. It's a bit hit or miss though. I know it's a bit contradictory since I said it was just very nice. It's nice in the sense that there is a lot of variation in this, but it's also hit or miss because you are missing quite a bit of key rares, like the Renault 5 GT, which I'm sure you have now because it's such a key Yoto car, Opel Insignia, the Alfa Romeo Alphacet, and the Bentley Arnage. As you can see, they all have a similarity in the 4 cars that I mentioned that you don't have. They're all medium, so just get some medium ground clearance performance tire cars that would really boost out, I think, what is the weakest area in your rare collection. So moving on to the super rares now, of course, right, it's the Colt. We have to start off with a Colt. I feel like every rarity we're just going to start off with a Colt. Well, I don't think there is a Mitsubishi Colt for Ultra and above, so I think this is the last rarity where we'll start off with that. Now, this is a little different. The super rare collection is a little different compared to the other ones we saw. Rare, uncommon, and common, they are all massive in terms of size, but the super rare collection, as far as it goes, in comparison to the other rarities we've seen in Bunny's garage, is actually quite small. I think there were only like 3 RQ47s or 45, something like that. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I know it's 3 of one number, but it's a pretty small collection. I'm also surprised that not all of your Mitsubishi super rares are maxed. Those Monteros are actually pretty good, and I, not even being a Mitsubishi lover, have both Monteros maxed in my garage. I just love a super rare all-surface tire car that handles. You know what I mean? They're not that rare because most Japanese super rare all-surface tire cars are in that 83 to 86 range anyway, but I do appreciate that. I do like cars that handle a lot, especially when it comes to the off-road sector. Weaknesses in your super rare collection would be the low-end off-road and the medium-range off-road and all-surface tire, and the RQ43 to 45 standard tire range. Now, I know it's pretty obvious why Bunny's garage is weak in RQ43 to 45 standard tire cars, because when you think about it, most RQ43 to 45 standard tire cars are Subarus, and Bunny hates Subarus. That being said though, you gotta get yourself a Legacy or an XT or both, because although you hate Subarus, there's some really useful cars. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're just gonna dig deep and max something that you hate, because I've done that so many times. I hate French cars, but look at me. I got like 2 C2R2s, a Peugeot E-Legend, you name it. My French collection actually isn't that bad. I've actually tiered 1 French events before, which is a bit mind-boggling, but you know, that's just the way the game goes sometimes. But moving on to the ultra rares now, we're just gonna have a nice look at the collection here. Usually when it comes to my notes and garage review for ultra rares, I just point out what's a max, what's a fuse. And one interesting thing is that I've only pointed out 2 things that Bunny should fuse in here, which are the TVR 450 SE and the Bentley Mulsanne. Really, only 2 fuses. Most of the time when I review a garage, there's usually like, I don't know, 16 to 20 ultra rares I'll say you should yeet. But yeah, once again, a lot of max or nothing, you know, Exige S1 maxed, SMR and repeat stock. The repeat's actually decent. It's not the best. It's not in anywhere even good. But it's not trash, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a 4 out of 10. So you can do what you want with that, but I didn't put it in the fuse pile. Mazda 6 is really good. Evo 4, I'm surprised you only have 1 max. Actually, let's have a VAR to see if you have 3 or 2 of those. Oh yeah, there you go, you got 2 max, there you go. Hey, but you know, you should get 3 max. I would get 5 max in a heartbeat. If I had 5, I would max 5. I currently have 3 right now, and I have 3 maxed. But that was the Ultra Rare collection. Pretty small, and I'm surprised that the Colorado isn't max either. But as we move on to the epics right now, now the epic fuse list is very, very long. I've written, what, Tuscan S, Mustang PP, the Scat Pack, the Spiker, the Porsche 911 GT3, the Jaguar XKR, Camaro ZL1, Peugeot 907, Diablo SV. There are a lot of like fusible epics in here, and like I said in my notes, forgive me if any of these cars I'm telling you to fuse are Yoto. Obviously, if they're Yoto, keep them around. But yeah, low and epic, a lot of garbage, as you can see. That Countach, that Vauxhall, the Acura, you know, a lot of garbage. There are gonna be a lot of Acuras in here, I think, because Bunny did win the SLS. I think that was Bunny's first prize car, if I'm right. But as you can see, 2 MDXs max. Luckily, that's like the best Acura all surface tire car, so I wouldn't be too like hurt knowing that I've maxed a duplicate of that, because that might come in handy. It will beat the Cadillac XT5, which a lot of older players would have maxed like me, so you kind of got that going for you. To me, it's not a bad looking car. I like the picture even, and I think the car doesn't look that bad, and the stats aren't that bad either. 4986 4-wheel drive. That's okay. That's okay in my book, okay? But yeah, moving on, we got, you know, Max Mitsubishis everywhere. Obviously, you know, Bunny Mitsubishi collector. Max Ford Mustang GTR concept. That's a very nice looking car. I've been chasing that. I've been trying to get that, but I haven't gotten that yet. And it looks like the Caterham Superlight R500 is the next project on the list. Moving on, last but not least, are the legendaries. As you can see, Bunny's first Max legendary is the Acura DNX. Once again, one Bunny, the SLS GT3, which we'll see in a bit. There you go. 32100. That's a great looking car. I've only missed 2 prize cars in 2021 as we move into the 4th month, the SLS and the Jag, which makes me kind of sad because those 2 are really good prize cars and I missed out on them, but I won the really shit ones, you know, like the TVR, the Honor d'Air, and what else is really trash? The Gumpert honestly is kind of trash, which Bunny also has, as you can see, 2598. I say trash in comparison to some of the other high-end cars we got this year. There's one more prize car that was really bad that I won. What was it? It was the TVR, the Honor d'Air. There was one that was like really bad, right? Maybe it's so bad I can't even remember what it is. Yeah, I just can't remember. It was one of them. It was one of the prize cards that came out this year that was absolute garbage. But yeah, as you can see, top off of the Gumpert Apollo R and the Vulcan. I guess, yeah, the SLS is the first Tri-Series prize car, but the Vulcan is like the first legendary prize car. But yeah, it's a really nice garage for sure. For notes for legendaries, I would say, you know, no legends worth maxing at this point. And obviously now Bunny has a 962, which will be the highest RQ car in Bunny's garage now. But yeah, I would say no legends worth maxing. You could put maybe a fuse in the 962 if you need it for the Yoto challenge. I don't think any level in the Yoto challenge would require a player to put a fuse in a 962, because if that is the case, that would also require players to have a 962, which is a very tall ask. So that being said, that'll be very interesting to see, but it's a very decent garage. I wouldn't put any upgrades in any of the legendaries. There's no need for that right now, basically. But yeah, that is the collection. That is Bunny's garage. So everybody, I feel like a lot of players in the Top Drives community know who Bunny is. And finally, it's nice to be an honor. It's an honor and a privilege to finally review the garage itself. But anyway, that's going to be today's episode of Garage Review. I hope you enjoyed it. For those wondering, I always get a lot of questions. You know, people like to submit their garage for reviews and all that kind of stuff. I don't review garages anymore. I mean, in terms of like, if you just sent me a link on Instagram, I'm not going to review it anymore. The only way to get a garage review nowadays is to be a Patreon. And to be in my server, there are channels where you can submit your garage, and that's where I will get the the content to review. But no, if you just send me your garage on Instagram, if you DM me on Instagram saying, hey Blossom, can I review my garage? If you're not a patron, the answer I'm just gonna let you know straight up. I'm gonna be frank, it's a no. Okay. They take a lot of time. I spend like over an hour on each garage I review, and that's probably why if you've already sent your garage to me on Patreon, I might take some time to get back to it because it takes a lot of time just to review one garage. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.